welcome back. Episode 19 of the Griddyiron Gang. What we got for you today is a Week 8 review and a Week 9 preview. But today it was also the trade deadline around the NFL, so we're going to touch on some of the biggest moves that took place. What you got for me, dog?
All right, so let's start it off here. We got the Bills trading for Nyheim Hines. Obviously, picks are involved with all these, but I'm not going to go through all the picks. But they did send Zach Moss to Indianapolis as well.
Is that like a running back swap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Along with some picks, obviously. But then, I mean, for that one,
not a bad move.
Not a bad move. He fits that offense well, I think. He's obviously a predominantly heavy pass catching back.
Yeah.
And that's what they like to utilize. I think he's going to fit in real well for them. Sneaky good pickup, I think. But then we got the Falcons, who obviously traded Calvin Ridley to Jacksonville, which is I think that's a great pickup for Jacksonville down the road when he's eligible to play again. They got a good wide receiver group over there right now. I think that definitely bolsters the stock of Trevor Lawrence going forward. They're going to be who they are this year, obviously. Probably, I mean, there's still an outside shot.
We are
for playoffs,
who we thought they were, you know.
But at the end of the day, I don't think they make the playoffs, and they'll just start building even more this offseason for next year. And I think next year is when we'll probably see a team on the rise. But then we got the Dolphins. They obviously got Jeff Wilson from San Francisco, and they also got Bradley Chubb from the Denver Broncos. Two huge pieces for that team. I think they still feel good about contending and making the playoffs and making a run. So I think for sure Bradley Chubb gives that defense some elite playmaking on that side of the ball. But Jeff Wilson obviously knows the coach from San Francisco.
Right.
That's obviously going to benefit him getting into the gameplay right away, I believe. Other than that, you got the Commanders who sent William Jackson over to Pittsburgh. The Bears then traded for Chase Claypool for a second-round pick. I mean, I don't have that much confidence in Claypool doing anything special with the Bears.
I thought a second was a little high for Chase.
I didn't think he was worth a second. I think that's what a lot of teams. But the funny thing is the Packers offered a second rounder as well. So obviously the Steelers went with the team that they thought was going to have the higher pick.
Right.
Now, if I'm the Packers, I mean, what is Chase Claypool going to do for that team to really get them to the spot where they want to be? I think the Packers are just in a downward spiral at this point.
They're probably just looking for someone who can suit up.
Yeah, I mean, that wide receiver room in Green Bay is not looking
It's
the
depleted
greatest.
right now.
I mean,
yeah.
And there's only so much a good quarterback like Aaron Rodgers can do. I don't know. I'm not a diehard Packers fan. I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not a guy
just a closet one?
You know, I pay attention to all the NFL, but when it comes to the Packers and the moves they make, whatever, I don't really give two thoughts to it because it's number one, they're pretty much known for not making moves at the deadline, and I think they do pretty much all of the moves they make are in the offseason, and that's kind of their thing. I don't know. I just, from what the outside perspective is, I just think that there's a lot of problems in that front office, and you know, benefits me and my squad. So.
That's that.
That's that for that one. But then we got a rare in-division trade between the Lions and the Vikings, where the Vikings got T.J. Hawkinson. There are picks involved as well, but I think you have Irv Smith, who goes down with high ankle sprain, out 8 to 10 weeks. They say we're depleted at tight end. After that, you have to go and make a move. Obviously, the rumor was they were looking at Brandon Cooks, but a lot of teams shied away because of the $18 million he's owed next year, which makes sense, and we wouldn't be able to afford that. So I'd rather get a guy who's still on his rookie deal, who has a 5th-year option for next year that we can exercise and we can have him for longer than just half the season. But at the end of the day, I think that this trade was terrific.
It's a damn steal.
It's a terrific trade for the Vikings. They upgraded majorly at tight end, even over Irv Smith, I believe. And I think he's gonna open up a lot more possibilities in the offense. I think it's going to be very beneficial for the run game because you're going to have these defenses are going to have to start preparing for us differently than they have leading up to this point. I don't think many teams really focused on Irv Smith a whole lot, but TJ Hawkinson is a different story. I mean, he's great with yards after the catch. I think he's averaging like 15 yards per catch this year, which is his highest in his career.
That's not bad at all.
And most of it is coming from yards after the catch because I think he's like averaging like 8 yards after catch or something like that. So it's a pretty good situation to have with that kind of tight end. It's going to open up more for obviously Adam Thielen underneath and JJ.
Deep.
Yeah, I
3
think
levels now.
I just think you but then it comes to the point though, like Kirk's got absolutely no excuse now because there's a playmaker at every position and you can get the ball out and not hold on to the thing. So there's no more excuses the rest of the year for Kirk. Like he's got to go out there and utilize every single one of these guys. And I think, the defense, they just have to, if it's going to be bend, don't break, that's fine. But this trade signifies that we know and we want this offense to be more explosive than what we have been. And if we can capitalize on this trade in that sense, then I think who knows what the end of the season is going to look like for us. But it's got to, on paper, it looks great, but you got to go out and show it and prove it and all that other stuff. So, not much else to say. We just got to go out and see what it looks like now. Now we have the Eagles. I mean, they just bolstered their defense even more, getting Robert Quinn. I mean, I think both sides of the ball for the Eagles, they just got really great depth. There's not a whole lot of teams out there that's for sure who can compete with the amount of depth they have. And I believe I think Jordan Davis is out for a while now too because he got injured last game.
Okay,
but he's a rookie. He's playing only a certain amount of snaps each game. But he'll be obviously fine down the road. But I just feel like that trade, it's another signal that the Eagles are completely all in on this season. Mm-hmm. They're trying to win the chip. And, I think that Hawkinson trade though is also an all-in move. There's a couple of these trades that signify like we're all in and this is our window of opportunity and we're trying to take a hold of it. So, and then you got the Chiefs. They traded for wide receiver Kadarius Toney. I think that's a sneaky little good pickup.
Very sneaky.
I think he's the type of guy who's not gonna overwhelm defenses, but he's a perfect piece for the Chiefs and what they do on offense, especially with Mahomes at quarterback. He's gonna find him. He's gonna get him the ball, and I mean it's going from Daniel Jones to Patrick Mahomes
really doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't. So, I mean, this is a point in time where this guy's career could take off.
Right.
And so I think that's what obviously he's hoping for. And I think that's what the Chiefs are hoping for as well because, I mean, I believe he's still on his rookie deal as well. So.
He should be.
Yeah, I would assume so. He was a rookie last year, right? Or 2 years ago?
It's his second or third year.
Okay,
he's a young player.
So. Obviously, they're not going to have to worry about money issues with him for a little bit if it comes to that. But I think it was just an overall sneaky good pickup. I mean, I think the Chiefs, they added a piece in Kadarius Toney on offense. That offense is, they're going to roll. It's just that defense has got to shore some things up and they'll be fine. Now we got, obviously we kind of hit on it at one of the other episodes, but the Jets did acquire James Robinson because Breece Hall went down.
Yep.
The Cowboys, they got defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins from the Raiders.
Yeah, we touched on that.
I mean,
didn't help him last week.
How big of a move that was, I don't know. I mean, it's just their run defense obviously is struggling, and they tried to shore that up. So we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the season with them, but. I couldn't tell you I know a whole lot about Jonathan Hankins. I mean, I just haven't heard the name a whole lot.
I hear you.
This was also earlier on that we touched on. Browns acquired Deion Jones from the Falcons. Then 2 minor ones was Kansas City traded cornerback Rashad Fenton to Atlanta, and the Bills acquired safety Dean Marlowe with the Falcons.
Okay.
So those are the main trades that went on the past couple weeks leading up to the ones that happened today. I think today it was like 8 or 10 of them that went down.
Okay.
Obviously, there's a handful that were the big ones, and then the other ones are kind of probably more so cap space based compared to just trying to go all in like some teams. But this was one of the more fun deadlines we've had in a while, because normally around the NFL trade deadline, you don't see a whole lot of movement. There's a lot of teams just standing pat and living with what they have. This year, I think you got to look at it from a place where the NFC especially is weak. So you got teams who see their opportunity right ahead of them, and they're going to take a swing for it. The only thing I got to say about the Hockenson though is his injury history. It does scare me a little,
for sure.
And so that is one of those things where if he can stay healthy, it benefits us. But I mean, shoot, if we get 2 games into this deal and he goes down and he's out, just like Irv is, it's like we're screwed.
Yeah.
So, but obviously I'm hoping for the best injury wise. Don't like to see any player get injured, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. And then, I forgot. I almost passed it over because I had to save it for the end. But your Baltimore Ravens coming in with the big Roquan Smith trade. I think that was a huge. I like that pickup a lot for you guys. I think he fits the Ravens personality, just all around. He just seems like he's a Ravens player, and I mean, your defense. Not saying it needs all the help it can get, but it definitely helps out. You guys kind of obviously giving up some leads in the games, and I mean he's the league's leading tackler right now. That doesn't hurt at all to add to a defense. But yeah, that's the whole list of trades that went down past couple weeks and leading up to today. Some good moves, some okay moves, but I think the ones who are in contention for the Super Bowl this year so far made moves that they needed to make. And that's something you want to see from those type of teams, because I think if you're just using the Vikings record for example, you're 6-1, you know that you need some pieces still. So you at least have to go out and get one to try and help. I mean, you need as many we could have went out and got a defensive guy, and I would have been perfectly happy as well. Because obviously there's some question marks along our defense and what we've been giving up, yards and points all year long, and we're in these close games. So that wouldn't have hurt at all. But who knows? I mean, Sidney Jones from Seattle just got cut. Maybe we just, pick him up and add him as a depth piece to that cornerback room. But at the end of the day, we picked up Hockenson. Great trade. I think that signifies that this front office and coach staff believes in this whole team, believes they have the pieces in place, and they just added to it. So I think what these trades do, especially that one for the Vikings, it just signifies that your front office and coaching staff believe in what you're doing, believe in the personnel groupings you have, and they're just trying to add to it to get you over that hump and put you right there to hoist that Lombardi trophy at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think both of our teams made moves that definitely I think both of our teams made moves that definitely show that they are thinking that they're in the contention for a championship. You definitely were in need of that position, tight end, after Irv Smith goes down. We were in need of that linebacker position. We've really been missing a guy like that since we lost C.J. Mosley to the Jets a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Roquan leads the league in tackles, and you mentioned the stats to me before we got on here. That was pretty impressive. 100 tackles in his first 4 years. Definitely something we're missing. We missed a lot of tackles in that front seven and even on the back half as well. Going into this game, though, if we're going to just transition into Week 8, because Baltimore did play Thursday night. They were on the road against Tampa Bay.
Yep.
I was very nervous about this game for a few reasons. If we're going to stick on the linebacker topic, I feel Levante David and Shaq Barrett were athletic enough and good enough to stick with Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson. I feel like facing this team on the losing streak is very dangerous, especially on the road on a short week. Going down to Florida, the weather's a little different down there. Mm-hmm. And then obviously you're playing against the best to ever do it at his position. So there was a lot of things for me to feel nervous about this Thursday night game, but they didn't make me feel good to start the game off. We get shut out in that first drive. Luckily, they muffed the punt and were able to get it inside the 20, but weren't able to capitalize with a touchdown, only come away with a field goal. From there, it was pretty much back and forth the whole game. First half, Lamar Jackson throws 30 passes. Really not our game.
Yep.
Excuse me. In the second half, we really showed our contrast of styles, man. For the game, we took this team, ran the ball, ran the clock, and really did what we needed to keep Tom Brady off the field to make some of those big plays. As a team, we had 33 rushes for 231 yards. Lamar Jackson, 38 attempts, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles. So that was big. Pretty much, you could put a lot of the blame on him for us losing some of these games late with his turnovers and his decision-making. He played well down the stretch this game. Tom Brady, on the other side of things, played well as well. 325 yards and a touchdown. In this game, though, I mentioned Shaq Barrett earlier. Goes down, torn Achilles. That's Mark Andrews, brutal, really brutal. Mark Andrews leaves with a shoulder injury, but an unlikely hero steps up. Isaiah Likely made some big plays, some big catches, big touchdown. Ultimately, Baltimore comes away with the win, 27-22.
I'll tell you right now, I like that Likely guy. I think that dude's going to be something, the next special thing at tight end. I just think he's got the size, the frame. I mean, he's got some speed to him. I mean, he's got a connection already with Lamar that you is very noticeable when they play.
Lamar loves his tight ends, man.
I love this kid. I was watching him in the preseason, and I was like, this guy got something. I just, you just don't know with you already having Mark Andrews, like how much he's gonna play. But it's nice to know, like now, like if Andrews goes down, we got a capable tight end to step up and make plays. So I think that's a huge benefit to you guys drafting him. But yeah, this game, I mean, I think I texted you early on in the game, like I should have picked Tom instead of Baltimore, but game was far from over.
It looked bad after we
the first,
got that three.
The first little bit was like, damn, dude, I was like, Baltimore didn't come to play.
Nope.
But they came back and they got the dub, and that was a hard fought dub. And those games test your character and test like the ultimate overall making of your team. And I think you guys prevailed and did a great job. And obviously with what Tom and the Bucs are battling right now and going through all the adversity, that's a crucial win to have because they were still in the game even through all the shit they're going through. And you guys still won. So, I mean, you can look at it as maybe a poorly played game for the most part, but a win is a win, like we say. And I just think, it's weird seeing these Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers teams be at the spots they're in right now because we're not used to that. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and not necessarily the Packers, but the Bucs, they still have a quality team. Like I said before the season started, I said when all this Giselle and Tom stuff was going on and he had to leave training camp for 2 weeks or whatever it was, I'm like, this type of stuff, when this happens around the season beginning and leading into the season, like, it doesn't just go away overnight. Like, this shit fucks with some people, even the best athletes in the world. Like, this shit will fuck with their mental state. And his personal life, I think, is affecting his overall play right now. And I think we're going to see him again next year. He's not retiring. And he's going to be clear-headed. And we're going to have a whole different talking point next year with Tom again. Like, is this dude ever going to quit? That's just my prediction on that. But he just doesn't look like himself. And neither does Rodgers. But, I mean, I think it's two different scenarios.
Yeah, I think both teams are very talented. I think the Bucs definitely have less holes, though. I think that wide receiver room in Green Bay is really
That's what I'm saying. I was saying, like, Green Bay, I wouldn't say... Maybe they're a quality team based on, I guess, the guys they have on defense, just on names alone. But their defense is not playing up to their standard right now. And the offense is just a mess. I just don't think I don't think it's really a well-coached team right now. I don't think they don't got enough, playmakers over there. But with the Bucks, it's still a quality team. They got a lot of defensive pieces. They got a lot of offensive pieces. They're getting hit with injuries, obviously, at bad times. And, Tom, just doesn't look like Tom's very comfortable back there. He's not seeing the field like he normally is. And
he's overthrowing some guys. He's skipping some passes. This team doesn't run the ball, though. 15 for 40-something yards. I mean, that's not going to help him at all.
No.
And then if your whole secondary is going to be out, a lot of the pressure is on you to score. And then Shaq Barrett is going to be out for the rest of the season. That's a lot on you. And they put a lot on you, A lot of their play calls are pass attempts. I think Tom Brady threw 44 this game. So, I mean, it's really
not what you want to do with
that's
a guy
not
like Tom, especially at his age. Like, so it's...
Lamar threw 8 passes in the second half. So
and at the same time, you got to ask yourself, though, is like... Because the Bucks are making a lot of stupid mistakes amongst, like, when they're in these games so far. And I don't know, were they better coached with Arians or is Bowles the answer?
See, I hate that that's going to be the narrative because they didn't deal with these kind of injuries when they had Bruce back there.
True.
But that is going to be the narrative. Oh, Todd Bowles can't coach, and that's why
I bring it up.
That's why there's only one black head coach in the league because even he makes Tom Brady under 500, and I can't. I don't know. I don't want to hear that narrative. I'm just
I bring it up because it's what it's going to be asked, and
I know that for sure.
I don't think it's fair to Todd Bowles, but at the same time, there are guys who can get a lot more out of players than what some other guys can.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, Todd Bowles coached the Jets last as a head coach,
I believe. Yeah,
and we know what goes on with the Jets. They're the Jets, and they usually
you jet.
You make poor decisions amongst the front office, and just it's been bad being a New York fan, but. It seems to be, though, when you get black head coaches, that they're always put in shitty situations. And it seems like it's almost on purpose so we can say, hey, these guys can't coach.
I had a rant about that in the NBA last year.
And
they sent these dudes to Cleveland, Washington.
Think about it. Think about why Carolina chose Steve Wilkes as the interim coach out of all their whole coaching staff. Why did he get picked? Because he's in the middle of a battle against the NFL and all this shit because of what they're doing to black coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Do you look at that as kind of like a slap in the face to him? Like, hey, we're already in a shitty situation, so we're going to make you the face of the team right now and make you look even worse. And that's the type of shit that goes on, though, in these leagues, professional leagues, and these coaches don't ever get another chance. That's what's bullshit.
Then you're at DC for 15 years.
Because you look at it, majority of the league is black, and black players are better than white players, especially at playmaking positions. The whole line's damn near white.
Yeah, I got kickers on lock.
Kickers and punters, white.
Quarterbacks, we stepped in the door, but yeah, I'll give y'all quarterback for now.
But when you get running backs, wide receivers, cornerbacks, safeties, it's... Middle linebackers.
A white cornerback would be crazy.
That would be insane to see, but you don't ever expect that shit. It's things like that though that go through my head, and it's just kind of like, man, I believe Todd Bowles was the right choice as coach for the Buccaneers. What he's done with that defense since Tom was, or whenever he came in and Tom came in or whatever, what he's done with that defense. I think. That shows, especially when you're a coordinator, it shows that you are capable of being a head coach. But there also is a lot of other shit that goes on as a head coach where you have to manage and micromanage the whole team, which can be tough. But at the same time, when you're in the professional athlete business, NBA, NFL, MLB, whatever, a coach is... he's a big part of it, but he's also just a small factor because these players got to go out and play.
Mm-hmm.
And, Yeah, he's got a scheme. Yeah, he's got a game plan. And that's big. But when you're asking, you can't go out there and play for these guys. You give them what you give them during the week, and they got to perform. So and there's a lot of bad white coaches. Like there's a lot of them. Like come on, man. You're going to tell me Matt Rule should be a head coach over some of these other guys?
There's probably half of the coaches are good coaches. So I guess at least half of the coaches are white coaches or bad coaches.
It's just crazy because I don't understand how it works the way it does with how all these white guys get head coaching jobs, but all your players are black. A lot of your coaching staff is black.
Ben McAdoo.
Like, come on, dude. Like, I don't get, like, give some of these guys a fair shot and don't just, judge them off of their playing career or what they've done as a freaking running backs coach or coordinator even. Just, yes, judge them obviously for what they've done with the team and the personnel groupings they've been handed, because when you're a coordinator or a position coach in the NFL, you don't go out and pick your guys. Like you're given what you're given.
Yep. And
you got to make it work. And I think that obviously goes to show like how good of a coach you are. But at the same time, if you're handed,
are you McVay or Shanahan?
If you're handed, I'm trying to think of a good example. But if you're handed a running back group, like let's say,
just say Minnesota, Dalvin and Madison.
That's a good situation to be in. But
you want a bad one?
I'm talking about so just say even though Dameon Pierce is having a good rookie season so far, take them last year with David Johnson and that shit show they had. I mean, that running back coach, what can you do?
Who was it last year? Johnson and like Phillip Lindsay?
Yeah, like what can you do, bro?
That's tough.
Like what can you do? You got to put your head down and go to work each day. Like do your drills with them and like coach them up, but you ain't getting shit out of them. Like one's washed up, the other one's not like NFL caliber in my opinion. Maybe a decent backup, but not a starter. So it's like situations like that come about, and it's just like, I mean, it's wherever you go, obviously, but and then you look at all the owners and they're white. I mean, we're off topic, obviously, but it's just a lot of shit that I think about during the season and the off season, because it's like it is bullshit about, Brian Flores shouldn't have been fired.
No question about it.
So I'll end it on that rant, but like it's a very controversial topic, and it's bullshit.
I think what's his name? Jim Caldwell got fired after going 9-7.
Bullshit, bro. I mean, he did more for the Lions during his time there.
Do they even have 9 wins with Matt Patricia and Dan Campbell since then?
No.
That's crazy, man.
Like, Caldwell was a damn good coach.
Dwayne Casey won Coach of the Year in the NBA and got fired. That's ridiculous.
It don't make that doesn't make that. See, that's where the ownership part comes in, and that's
There's no scandal that we know of. Nothing. He went right to Detroit and was coaching next year. So I mean, it's just crazy.
It's a fucked up situation that happens in our world, but yeah, there was just something that came to mind real quick.
My last thoughts on this game: Bateman got hurt, Gus Edwards got hurt, Marlon Humphrey got hurt, but he came back. But 4 of our top 5 players were hurt, and then we came into the game without Calais Campbell due to an illness. So I don't know, man. This is a good week to have an extra day of rest and get a Monday night game, but I don't want to go too far ahead with that.
Yeah.
Moving on to London, we had Denver at Jacksonville.
Yuck.
Yeah, it was a pretty uneventful game until, I don't know, fourth quarter, so it had a little bit of drama. We had Russell Wilson hitting KJ Hamler up the right sideline for a big gain. After that, it was pretty much just a rushing attack for Denver that gave them the lead. Trevor Lawrence gets a chance to win the game, but throws an interception on the last drive. Denver comes out of London with the W. Russell Wilson at the interview after the game. Let's ride, baby. 21-17. Broncos. Are they back in the thick of things?
You just beat the Jaguars, bro. Not knocking the Jaguars, but it's like you just beat the Jaguars, who are rebuilding and are still trying to figure out their shit out there with the new coach and everything.
Preseason wise, you're on two different spectrums.
Exactly.
Top 10, bottom 10.
I don't want to hear shit about the Broncos being relevant because they're not. This game was ugly. I don't think the partnership or relationship of coach and quarterback is with this pairing is going to go well at all. Like, one of them is going to get fired.
It's going to have to be Hackett.
Yeah, I would choose. I mean, I still think Russ has good stuff left in him, but it's not working out. Like, it's even though you won, bro, this team is supposed to be high flying and high powered and very good this year. You just had to trade away Bradley Chubb.
That kind of tells us a lot.
What do you do? I mean, I've been saying since week 1 Hackett should be fired, but I don't think he will. I've also said I don't think he will. He's going to get a full season at least.
Week 1 is crazy, but that decision was so idiotic.
He's made those constantly this year, though. These type of decisions. And then you go after week 2 after the same shit pretty much happened in week 1.
He does the opposite when he should have did what he did.
And you hire a guy to help make crucial decisions for you late in the game.
Right.
Bad coach.
Right.
And you're telling me some of these black coaches can't get that head coaching job? Brian Flores should be coaching Russell Wilson instead of Nathaniel Hackett.
That'd be nice. He's not too far off from Tua.
I mean, that's my whole. We can have a whole separate episode on this thing because, like, give me a break, dude. These first time, I mean, even I'm not gonna knock him because I think he could turn out to be a very good coach. But what's his name in Miami? Mike McDaniel or Mike Daniels or whatever.
You ever seen Big Mouth?
He looks like him, doesn't he? Like, up until like San Francisco was doing well in the playoffs past few years or whatever, like, I wasn't ever hearing about this guy. Well, technically, sorry, he's got black in him, so.
Nah, bro.
But he's white, bro.
We ain't claiming that, bro.
That Miami tried to pull a slick.
We didn't play that game before.
Miami fired Flores, hired him, tried to play a slick game there. They not working too well, but I think he'll turn out to be a good coach. But it's like, my whole point is, you get a lot of these guys trying to hire the next big thing as coming from being a coordinator. They happen to fucking be white. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett is a perfect example of it. You were coaching Aaron Rodgers. You didn't have to coach. He's out there changing the play calls. He's out there directing the offense. You just had a headset on and asking him what he saw out there.
You got to, exactly. Gave him the tablet and walked away.
Like, that doesn't signify that you should be a head coach in any shape, way, or form. I mean, it's just like, it's mind-boggling. I don't know. I'll get off that coaching topic, but
Zimmer's out of here, man. It's okay. Breathe. You're 6-1.
No, but
breathe.
it's the whole situation amongst the whole NFL. It's just, there's a lot of other coaches on these 32 staffs who deserve a chance to be a head coach. I mean, they're working their butts off every single day to prove themselves. I wouldn't imagine being a coach in the NFL thinking to myself, nah, I'm cool. I don't want to be a head coach. Like, maybe there's some of those guys. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I think you're just like a player in the NFL. You want to be the best, even as a coach. Like, you're trying to work your way up and be a head coach. And there's only 32 jobs. So it's hard-ass work. But
yes, indeed.
At the end of the day, I just think there's a lot of fishy shit going on amongst the ownership groups and just everything. I mean, it's almost like modern day slavery. I'll just say it. Like, it is, like, and it's a fucked up thing to watch, bro. Like, because these athletes are fucking getting paid millions, but they're like, you know, they don't get to dictate shit.
I hear you.
So, man, I think it's almost the same for coaches, because let's be real, coaches aren't making front office decisions unless you're Bill Belichick or Mike Tomlin. Like, yeah, Kevin O'Connell might have a say of what he'd like, but at the end of the day, Kwesi and the front office are going to do what they want to do with this roster.
Do you have Spillman still?
No, he got fired too.
Oh, Kwesi is in there now. No, I agree with you though. Players don't really have much say, but coaches don't either. And they get dealt a bad hand sometimes, like Hackett has. And I mean,
Hackett didn't
get dealt a bad hand. He was just the wrong guy for the job.
Very
but
wrong.
Sometimes,
guy.
like
very wrong. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I meant to say Doug P. Who got he got a
yeah.
bad deal with the Jacksonville team, who was on the rise. So it's pretty much opposite spectrums again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
In this game, though, we had Wilson go 18 for 30, 252 yards, touchdown, and a pick. What'd you think out of his performance? I know you said you're not taking too much from this victory, but do you think
there's
he looked better?
I think there's a lot wrong. I mean, not a lot wrong, but it just doesn't. I just don't think Russell is very comfortable. I wonder sometimes, like with how the season's going, if he's like, "Damn, I made the wrong decision trying to get my way out of Seattle." I mean, think about it this way though. You swap the nameplates on the back of the jerseys with Geno and Russell. We're talking about Geno as being a fucking all-pro quarterback this year. But because it's not Russell Wilson or that type of quarterback or that name recognition, he ain't getting love.
He's probably... Where would you put him in your MVP list?
I mean, he's definitely a Pro Bowler this year. If I had to,
he's the second best quarterback in the NFC right now, in my opinion.
He's dropping dimes. He's dropping dimes, bro. He's seeing the field very well, and I mean, I don't know where it's coming from, but I love watching Geno this year. Like, he's fun to watch. But as of back on this game, it's like Russell Wilson. It's just he doesn't seem comfortable at all in any aspect of being in that organization. The constant Broncos country, let's ride. The whole gimmick, like, get over it, dude. Like, stop it. Like, you guys are bad. Like, you're in a tough division already, which 3 teams out of the 4 are underperforming big time, which is sad to see because I had high expectations for that AFC West division.
Right.
But I just don't think the Broncos as a whole, like, they're just not gelling. They're not meshing. It's just Russell doesn't look like Russ. He's not confident, not comfortable, whatever. I just, but he'll pull those plays. He'll have those vintage Russell Wilson plays still that we see, especially in the past game. But it's, I think for Russ, it's hard because he's not the runner he once was. And I think that hinders him in the pass game a lot. Like, he can be very inaccurate sometimes. And
in the pocket.
Yes. Well, he's at his best when he's on the run.
And he would do that even if the pocket wasn't breaking down.
Right, exactly. And he kind of started the whole, when he came into the league, he kind of was that Patrick Mahomes type quarterback. Like, that creativity, like that backyard football type stuff. And that's obviously they had the Legion of Boom, great defense, but without Russell Wilson, I don't think those teams really get as far as they did. He was that key.
I don't think Matt Flynn could have did that.
No. So, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of, and I've been a Russell Wilson fan since he came into the league. It's hard to watch him this year. I don't know what it is, man. Sometimes when you kind of sense that friction between head coach, quarterback, I think that's there. And that's kind of what I think is holding them back. They don't, whether it be Hackett not giving him full reign of doing whatever he wants with the offense when he's out there, or Wilson.
I think that's what it is.
You think that's what it is?
And Wilson's just not stepping on any toes.
Yeah. That's what that seems like.
It's kind of what it seems like to me.
And so there's got to come to a point, whether it's this season or whatever, it's got to be like, no, like Russell Wilson is a quarterback and the type of quarterback that needs that freedom, like needs to be able to change the play call at the line of scrimmage, needs to check out of something or whatever the case may be. Like, he's got to be out there and being that captain. Like, he's that type of guy.
Yeah, I hear you. Better game from Wilson, but still not really believing. After a strong start, this guy's pretty much slowed down back to what he was last year. Trevor Lawrence, 18-31, 133 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. What are you thinking about Trevor Lawrence and his performance as of late? He was a guy we're having. Maybe he's a top 10 quarterback.
It's kind of worrisome, but I think now that they're getting Calvin Ridley next year, you at least got to think we have to give this one more full season with him and Dougie P.
Mm-hmm.
Add in Calvin Ridley. You got Christian Kirk. You got Marvin Jones. I mean, you got ETN in the backfield.
He had a big game, 24 for 156.
It has the potential to be a very solid offense. And so I'm not going to say I'm concerned per se with Lawrence, but yeah, he doesn't look like the guy that we saw at Clemson. And that's kind of worrisome, but I think he's still, I mean, you can't get put into any worse situation than he was last year with Urban Meyer. Like, I don't know what that was, but this is the first year. The first year with Dougie P. Dougie P's great with quarterbacks. We've seen what he did with Philadelphia and Nick Foles. I fully trust him leading this team. Calvin Ridley, that's a whole different type of receiver that they haven't had.
That's a bottom tier wide receiver 1, top tier wide receiver 2. So
one of the best route runners in the NFL.
At the worst case, you have 2 top tier wide receiver 2s. So
and
it's pretty damn good.
It's just gonna, and they're gonna make more moves this offseason, obviously, but no. I think they're having the type of year most expected, which is okay in this situation. You have to remove that bad taste in your mouth from last year and that whole mess of a situation you had. This year is hitting the reset button. We might not make the playoffs. We might not have the greatest record, but we're going to fight each game, and we're going to be in a lot of these games. And that's what I'm looking for from them and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, he's not putting up the greatest numbers, but he's slowly improving and getting confidence in leading that team as a quarterback. And that's what I think fans should hold out hope for, is like this will find its footing, find the rhythm that we're looking for. And I'm just thinking, I think by next year I don't know how much better they'll get. If I had to guess right now, I'll pick them as a around 500 team next year, and
I would agree with that.
And try to, that's major improvement.
Kind of how we felt about Detroit coming into this season.
Yeah,
that's what I would compare it to. Moving on, I think it's only right to start our noon games with the team that's undefeated. We had Pittsburgh on the road in Philadelphia in the battle for Pennsylvania, and the Eagles stay undefeated at 7-0. This game was really all about Hurts and A.J. Brown connected for 3 touchdowns in the first half. Hurts finishes with 4 total. But like I mentioned, 7-0 for the first time since 2004, where Donovan McNabb and T.O. took this team to the Super Bowl. What do you think about this Philly team? What do you think about this Pittsburgh team?
Well, let's see. Pittsburgh,
for me, I don't think anything good comes from your wide receiver throwing a touchdown to your fullback for your only touchdown of the game.
Yeah, no.
I mean, Kenny Pickett's got to be better.
He does. I mean,
I think they get a bye next week.
It's hard because when we were in our draft process this past offseason, I was never a Kenny Pickett guy. The only reason I kind of somewhat turned into one this year is because I believe he has to play over Mitch Trubisky, because you're going to either way.
Just because he win the first round or what?
Not necessarily just because he went in the first round. It's just, let's be real. Trubisky's not that guy. He's not going to be re-signed to Pittsburgh to be their signal caller. It's just, so in that sense, in my mind, I'm thinking, let's, get Kenny in there, get him the experience, and then we trust that this offseason he puts in all the work possible to take his game to another level. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm hoping for. And that's all you can hope for, I think, as a fan.
Yeah.
And so I think the Steelers are what they are this year. They're a bad team. They're not going to compete a whole lot.
You sit DJ for the rest of the year?
Probably. There's no reason to hurt him anymore.
Man,
you're not making the playoffs in that loaded AFC.
You're probably out of it at this point. Yeah.
So get Kenny the experience. I mean, you traded Claypool. You got William Jackson for the defense. Let's ride this thing out. Next year, we aim to be better, and hopefully Kenny takes another step. and we'll just fine. Because obviously, I still trust Mike Tomlin a lot,
For sure.
and I believe he's the best choice to lead this team to success. It's just, there's not, unless you're like Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or whatever, there's not a whole lot of rookie quarterbacks that come in and light the league on fire. Like, they're just not. And Kenny was never going to be that guy to come in and, be that next big thing at quarterback. He just wasn't. Like, this quarterback class that they drafted this
Who was
year,
the last one to do that? Deshaun?
probably I believe so.
That's tough.
It
like
is.
we talked about, they miss on a lot of these picks, though.
They do. And I'm not sitting here claiming that Kenny Pickett is going to be anything in the NFL. He's got a lot to prove for that to happen. But at the same time, we know what Trubisky is, what he has been. Tomlin started him to start the season. But do we actually believe that Tomlin had faith in Trubisky to lead this team to the playoffs or anything like that? Like, I don't think so.
It's just you had less faith in Kenny Pickett. And you already seen what Mason Rudolph can do and can't do.
Yeah. So it's,
That was an easy decision, but...
So for the Steelers, they're just, I don't know. Nothing good came about this game for them. It was a bad game.
I thought it was interesting they had 24 rushes for 144 yards, but Najee only had 8 for 32. You told me you think he's no good, he's a fraud. I don't know, man. I might start to believe that, and it hurts. Being that he's an Alabama guy. Is he the next, Trent Richardson, Eddie Lacy, or what's going on?
He's not. He's just not that star back that you're looking for. I mean, he's a very capable back, but he's not the guy they brought in. I mean, he's not the guy that.
This is second year.
He's not the guy that they thought they were bringing in. Let's put it that way.
I'm worried about Najee, man.
I've been saying it.
I know I tried to deny it, but it's
He
almost
just doesn't.
undeniable
He's
right now.
he doesn't have that knack for breaking off runs or making plays out of nothing. Like, it's not in him. He's pretty much a straight north and south runner.
He looks like what Zeke looks like with a torn knee.
And I can't say. And you know what? I don't think the Steelers have that great of an O-line this year either.
They don't, which doesn't help at all. Their O-line's terrible.
Maybe you put Najee behind a solid O-line and we're talking something different. But just the way he runs, though, it's in his style of running. It's not like you brought in a top back that you thought you were. Like, it's just not there for me. I don't know what it is, but on the other side of things with this game, Philadelphia, they just handled business. They went out and took care of business. They knew it was an inferior team. They said, okay, bye.
Yeah, not much to say about that one. That's what you want to see when you're playing a team that's...
And the scary part is, you look at the Philadelphia Eagles schedule, where do you see the next loss?
And they also slowed down in the second half again.
That's concerning for them.
Yeah.
Because that's been a pattern this whole year. Is they start off strong and then they fizzle out. You can't do that in the playoffs. But let's be real. Like, I think, it might be a bummer for any NFC team that gets to the Super Bowl this year because the AFC looks just too good to beat.
I think the Eagles could go 16-1, and we're still going to put the Chiefs in Buffalo over them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, I understand what you're saying with that. Anything else on the Eagles before we move on to the next one? We're about to have a 4-hour pod.
No, let's get this going.
Las Vegas was on the road at New Orleans, getting shut out 0-24. I think similar to the Philly game, we had a star being a star. 3 touchdowns for A.J. Brown in that one. 3 touchdowns for Alvin Kamara in this one. 2 receptions for 96, and then 1 on the ground. Like you said, man, you have a team that's probably better than the other team, took care of business, but I didn't expect this to be a shutout. I didn't expect it to be a 24 game at all, but I did expect the Saints to come away with a W.
Yeah, I did. I believe I picked the Raiders in this one. I mean, I don't know what to say about the Raiders.
Is it It is worrisome, but to have Josh McDaniels, who's supposedly an offensive mastermind, Derek Carr barely over 100 yards, Devontae Adams 1 catch 3 yards. I think Renfro was 1 for 6. I understand you don't have Waller. Jacobs returned back to earth. He's not going to have any more 3 touchdown games this year. Mm-hmm. He's going to be more of a 4-yard per carry guy, which is kind of what he was last night. I don't know, man. This offense should not be putting up 0 points, and when the defense was the question coming into the season.
Yeah, it's a bad look all around for the Raiders right now. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't know what to say about it. It's worrisome. It's ugly. Derek Carr does not look good this year at all.
No,
doesn't look like a top 20 quarterback at all.
And I was thinking about my list today. Just his name popped in at 10, and I was like, "Oh man, no way,
no,
there's no way,
no,
not next year."
I just don't have much to say about the Raiders. I mean, I had high expectations for that whole division, but the Raiders for sure are very disappointing. Like even more so than the Broncos or the Chargers, because you bring in Devontae Adams, you're expecting fireworks between him and Carr. It's yet to show up really. McDaniel is supposed to be this young coach that is an offensive mastermind. I don't know, man. It's very worrisome. Saints, on the other hand, they're a scary 3-5 team.
Like, one of the scariest.
They ball out and they have the tendency to go. They have the capability to go off on anybody and play them tough. Their defense is solid. The only thing that worries me, obviously, is the uncertainty at quarterback between Jameis and Andy Dalton. I mean, you never know what you're going to get with those guys. Could be an elite level type of play one game, and the next it's a 32nd ranked quarterback type play. I don't know. That team's hard to read, but they're a team that I'd be scared to play. I mean, shoot, we barely beat them by a double doink, and
good God,
they're just an overall tough team. Like
when Dalton plays like this, they're going to be pretty hard to beat. But when he has 2 interceptions at the end of the first half, they're beatable just like anybody else.
They're very beatable. But it's when everything is the scary part is the Saints. They usually are clicking more times than not, especially on defense. And that's the thing is like, if you can shut down Kamara for the most part and play good defense, you probably look pretty good that game.
Right.
But if you fail those 2 things, well, you just open the door to a bad game for yourself.
When healthy, they have a really good wide receiver room. Since Kamara's gotten back, he's looked like a top 5 back in the league. Mm-hmm. Defensively, I know we talked about this in the preseason about defenses. I liked elite guy at each level or a very good guy at each level, Cam Jordan, Davis. Then you have Lattimore and Matthew in the back end. So very scary team going forward. A team that plays good defense and runs the ball is always the formula to get you to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Scary team that we got coming up this week, but we won't jump too far ahead. All I got to say for this next game is Kirk hanging around the black guys too much. He's iced out after the game. He's running for touchdowns. Just trade the minivan for a Cadillac and he's running home. What you think about this one?
Oh man, it was a roller coaster of a game, and I said last week I said I don't know what to expect coming off the bye, but that's a type of game we usually have off the bye. It's very up and down. It's very getting back to the swing of things, and I don't like seeing that. I think you should be sharp even after a bye. I think you should be refreshed, come back to work that whole week, and be ready to go. Like the whole bye week excuse is BS. You should come back even better, I think, especially with all the adjustment. I agree. Yeah. Especially with all the adjustments your coaches are, in the office making and everything. I think our defense ended up being the MVPs of the game. We gave up 26 points, but they came through when it mattered and they closed the door on the Arizona. I mean, last year I think we gave up over 100 yards rushing to Kyler Murray. This year he had like 32. That's a night and day difference. And that's exactly what you have to do to a team like that with a quarterback like that is stop him from scrambling. And I think the best thing I saw was we pressured heavy up the middle so he didn't have that escapability right up the pocket. He had to always go left or right. Za'Darius Smith, just an absolute animal. 3 sacks, I think it was like 7 pressures or something like that. But that dude's been playing on a whole different level this year. I'd like to see more out of Daniil Hunter to complement Za'Darius, because that would be even better.
Mm-hmm.
But the past couple weeks, the past couple games for us, Miami and now Arizona, it was a breath of fresh air to see P2 play the way he has, because that's the type of cornerback play we need, is that shutdown corner capability, and he's showing that little bit of vintage P2 in him. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I just wonder how much longer he has of doing that, because I think the speed is kind of not what it once was. He had a terrific play on AJ Green down the right side in the end zone, batting it away. We had crucial turnovers that benefited us. It was just an up and down game. We scored twice, we let them back in, then we scored 2 more times, and the game's over. It was just one of those games where it's like, God damn it. I'm just sick of these close games. Give me one where we can win by 3 touchdowns or something. Show me we can win by more than 1 score. It was an 8-point game, but God damn it. These 3 to 8-point victories are just getting to me.
Who you telling? All our games been like that. I think you'll get one this week, though.
Well, I'm hoping so. You know what? This is the first game back in Washington for Kirk. He better go out there and pick them apart.
He's gonna show up.
This is the game that he needs to, bro. And then we can get on the plane and we can throw all our chains back on your neck.
Only thing I have to say about this game is 34 points is a lot, but I feel like you guys could have put up close to 48. You guys should have put this team away. I think you're way better than the Cardinals are. You did get timely turnovers, 2 interceptions, and then Za'Darius played big as well with 3 sacks.
Yeah.
It would be good to pair Daniil Hunter with him.
What I didn't like at the end of the game, though, is when we got the ball back. I don't remember how much time was left, but it had to be a little over 2 minutes still. And it was like Kevin O'Connell reverted to the Mike Zimmer ways of just running 3 straight plays
Same
and relying
shit
on your defense.
Yeah.
That, when you have an explosive offense, this is the time where you go and you step on their throats and you put it away.
Yeah.
Even if you come away with 3 points, your goal is to go score. We're not going to sit back and let our defense hopefully stop them when we're only up by 8 points. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
We need that extra cushion and that safe space, because it's we've seen too many times, especially going back to last year, we're capable of collapsing, and it's not a pretty sight. So I would have very much liked to see him not be so conservative and rather just stretch the field and go for it all. But, it was, but I was happy with the win. I didn't really have much complaints this week.
6-1 is nice.
And with 3.5 game lead over the Packers. It's a good spot to be in, at this point in the season with that big of a lead in the division.
We have a division game here. We had the Patriots on the road at the New York Jets. I told you Bill ain't losing to the Jets, but these guys tried, man. 2 minutes left in the first half. It was 4th and 1 in field goal range. Patriots go for it. They do not get it. Down by 7.
Yep.
Later on, Jets have the ball. Maybe a minute or so later, Zach Wilson throws them an interception. So luckily, they had the ball again with a chance to score. Mac Jones throws a pick 6. That gets negated by roughing the passer call. Oh. So it could be a 14-3 lead for the Jets going into the half. Ends up being a 10-6 lead for the Jets going into the half. And I think since that penalty, the Patriots really didn't look back from that, and they really took this game over. Ended up with a victory, 22-17. Zach Wilson had his first 300-yard game, but it came at a cost with 3 interceptions, and none of them were pretty.
Yep.
Probably one of his worst games, I would say, even though he's been throwing for 100 yards, 150 yards these past couple weeks.
Yeah.
No Breece Hall, and it really showed. This team couldn't do anything on the ground. 15 for 51. Very abysmal. And we know that's kind of Bill's strategy. We know what you want to do. We're going to have Zach Wilson beat us, which, whatever. We'll give you the 300 if you'll give us the 3 picks.
Right, exactly.
That's an easy trade. We'll take it every time. So we know the strategy for Bill. They executed, and they got out of there with a W.
Yeah, see, I think the overall roster, I would pick
I
the
agree.
Jets.
Easily.
It's the Zach Wilson thing that scares me. because I'm not there with him
It's
yet.
terrifying.
I'm just not there with him yet, being confident that he's the answer. If you get the right guy on this team to lead your squad at quarterback, watch out for the Jets, because that's a good constructed roster, and they've done a good job over there. But yeah, that pick six that was negated was a game changer, and you can't get much worse than that.
Nah, man. I was watching that live. Like, this one's a wrap.
And Saylor was hot.
He was about to kill that dude, man. That poor D lineman is in for it. He's probably still running laps.
Oof.
That's tough. That really changed the game. Like I said, Patriots took it over from there, and it was pretty much Patriots all the way. That's tough.
It is.
Next game, we have Miami at Detroit. I thought this was a pretty entertaining back and forth game. Detroit scored.
They were up by like 17 at one point.
They scored on the first 5 possessions. And the crazy thing is Miami scored on their last 5 possessions. This Miami offense can't be counted out. They might start slow, but for some reason they can come back from these deficits like
they score in a hurry,
like the Warriors almost.
It's a flurry of points.
It's crazy.
Like, and that's why I think with the Jeff Wilson trade and the
Bradley
Chubb trade, like, they just put themselves in an even better position as a whole, because those two guys are going to come in and make plays right away. I mean, we got Tyreek Hill, who's quietly on pace for like 2,000 yards receiving, which is insane, especially with the 3 quarterbacks he's playing with.
Right.
But they're a team that they're also a team that is also scary to play, because I think the Dolphins are for real.
I don't.
They're not there on Buffalo's level yet or anything like that crazy, but they can get it done. I mean, I didn't like how they started against Detroit, especially with where Detroit's at. But the fact that they started slow, came back, and beat Detroit, like, that says a lot about your team. And I mean, shoot, their defense is getting better each week. Add in Bradley Chubb, it's even better.
I just think it had a bad couple weeks. I think they started pretty good.
But I mean, they're a solid team. I like the Dolphins. I think they're capable of upsetting some teams. But it's just the overall playmaking they have is ridiculous.
It's really terrifying, man. Hill, Waddle, Gesicki.
That's another team like the Jets. You get a solidified QB1 in there who can do it all. Like, that's a team that is frightening.
Tua had 382 yards, 3 touchdowns on 29 to 36. So
that's a great game.
A great game, especially for him.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of Tua, it's like, when I think of Tua, it's almost like, oh, it's just Tua. But then he has games like that, and you're like, Tua did that? And I'm just sitting here dumbfounded, because there's something with Tua where I just don't believe, but yet he makes me believe. Because that team goes when he's playing.
They do. They really do. That has to account for something. It doesn't. I'm not sold with the on-the-field play when I see it. And these numbers just don't even seem real after I watch the game. But Hill and Waddle both over 100 yards. It adds up to 382 at some point. I mean,
it's pretty nice to have those two guys on the outside.
They can turn nothing into everything.
When all you have to do is throw the ball 5 to 15 yards, and they do the rest. That's a quarterback's dream. And
you can keep underthrowing Tyreek Hill by 15 yards, and he comes back and makes a great play.
I know. That's crazy. It's insane.
It's such a benefit to have. I don't know, man. We'll see. On the other side of things, though, Detroit up 27-17 at half. So after a poor, 2 weeks before, you get shut out 1 week, and I think 6 points the week before, or vice versa, whatever the case may be. You get shut out in the second half of this game after putting 27 up on the Dolphins in the first half. So a lot of problems in Detroit. I know they fired their cornerbacks coach, I believe.
Yeah, Aubrey Pleasant.
So, yeah, that's also an issue. This probably wasn't the game I'll do it after. I mean, nobody's been able to stop these guys all year when Tua's been back there.
They're going to have a lot of moves they're going to be making.
They will.
Like, I think Dan Campbell's safe still. This team is so screwed up that you're going to have to stop, like, playing. I mean, you're going to have to find the right person somehow, because you guys I'm so sick of the Detroit Lions game of switching coaches, switching coordinators, switching this and that. Just like every other year. It's like, dude, you don't even give anyone a chance to succeed because you're not building properly. That's the frustrating thing. This year, you were supposed to be, you built somewhat of a team that could do something, but it's not coming to fruition. And it's frustrating as hell to see because, I mean, I don't know, man.
They're close, but 1-16 isn't close enough.
No.
I don't care if you're within the score in all these games, except for the Patriots game. It's not gonna get the job done.
No, man. I think I read.
And your defense is absolute dog shit.
The thing that's beneficial for Detroit is I think they have 5 picks out of the first 65 picks of the draft this year. And that's huge. You better hit on majority of those. If you hit on majority of those 5 picks, you should be set for some time. And one of them, obviously, is going to be quarterback.
It's going to be in the top 5 and will be quarterback. So that's pretty much a perfect situation if you want to run it any kind of way like that. Mm-hmm. If you're going to go through the draft. 5 in the top what?
65.
65, so first 2 rounds.
Yep.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And then you're going to get your quarterback you want. Even if you are the 5th pick, you can trade
That's
up.
why I think, like, at this point, I'm not a big fan of tanking. But if I'm Detroit...
I'm not either.
But if I'm Detroit, I'm contemplating it. Because if you're comfortable with having Dan Campbell as coach still, well, then I'm trying to get at least top 3 pick. Give him a quarterback he can work with.
The offense is fine. The line is fine. The receivers are fine. The running backs are fine. Get you a quarterback. Get you some defense.
Yeah.
DBs, preferably. D-line's okay. I mean, we'll see.
We'll see about it.
We'll see. They need to
be
generate more pressure.
But yeah, it'll be an interesting offseason for them for sure. But yeah, they just got a lot. That defense is so putrid.
It's awful, man. They have no chance with that defense. Not with Jared.
They can put up all the points they want, but they're going to blow it.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, they're like the Brooklyn Nets. Next game, Chicago Bears at Dallas.
Not much to talk about here.
In a one-word answer, what was more surprising to you? The Bears scoring 29 or Dallas putting up 49? What team?
I would have to say the Bears putting up 29.
Yeah, I thought so as well. Even though 49 is crazy.
Yeah, but they also had a couple of defensive touchdowns, I believe.
Yep. So I know they had one at least, the Micah Parsons one.
Yeah, the Micah Parsons. That's the one I'm thinking about for sure. But let's put it this way. 49 points is impressive for this Cowboys team. But you also played a very bad Detroit or Chicago defense.
I don't really think the score indicated how this game went. Just because, like, that defensive touchdown.
Yeah.
They did get up 28-7, but Chicago did cut it to 5. But once they cut it down to 5, it was pretty much over from that point.
Yeah. I just thought it was surprising that Dallas defense let a Chicago offense score 29 points.
And they let them run all over them, which was a concern, and that's why they got Odu from Vegas. But
that's why I think coming down the stretch, I just think ultimately this Dallas team is giving their fans false hope once again, and they'll blow it somehow because they're not built like the Eagles are. And the Eagles are the team to beat in the NFC.
If that's what you're going to compare yourself to, well, I have to see him play with Dak in there as well. I think they kind of were in that game if Cooper didn't throw those terrible interceptions in the first half.
No, they were. They had an opportunity to beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
But my whole point is
Eagles are not unbeatable at all.
They're not unbeatable. They got a very good shake with how their schedule is constructed. I just think, and then with Hawkinson coming to the Vikings, on paper, that I'm talking about, on paper, we'll make Dallas put in work on defense if we play the type of game we can play.
I think so.
Their offense, though, it's a quality offense. It's just, I'm looking at. I got to shut down.
They like the playmakers.
I got a Pollard. I got to shut down Pollard, and I got to shut down CeeDee Lamb.
And CD is going to shut down himself.
And I guess Dalton Schultz. But if I'll let Dak try to beat me with just Dalton Schultz and
Gallup and Brown.
Yeah.
That has to be the game plan, you know what I'm saying? Zeke doesn't have the breakaway speed anymore.
That's why I say shut down Pollard, shut down CD.
And he was out this game, and then Pollard did have a big game, 3 touchdowns, I think over 100 all-purpose yards. So, I don't know. Going forward, I'd probably still start Zeke and use Pollard as my change of pace.
And that's the thing, too.
I know you said the opposite, though.
But speaking on just comparing the Vikings right now, like,
how did we get on those guys?
Well, because I was talking about playoffs and like if we had to play them or even our game coming up after Buffalo. What I forgot to say during the Vikings game that we were talking about though is start the season our run defense was very bad. The past I think 3 games it is now. We're averaging only giving up like 70, 74 yards rushing.
Who have you played? Because Cardinals can't run.
The Cardinals, Dolphins. And I don't remember who was before that.
Was it Saints, maybe?
I don't remember who it was, honestly.
Okay.
But anyways, I just thought it was a stat I was going to throw out because at least they're improving in some aspect on defense.
Yeah, that's a bright side. I mean, a lot of new guys over there is going to take some time to gel.
Yeah.
Maybe not like
well, it's a new
with the
3-4 scheme and stuff.
Yep, all that stuff.
That's the whole. That's the cool thing about the Vikings. I think is quiet 6-1. No one's talking about them. It's not like we've hit our ceiling yet. Like we're getting better each week, and that's what you like to see out of a team. Now, sorry for jumping back on the Vikings, but you can keep going now.
It's expected. I just think my last thing to touch on this game, Fields, 17 of 23, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. So not great numbers, but I think if you watch him play, he has looked a little better on the field.
But those numbers are what you come to expect with him.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Because he's going to...
Daniel Jones-esque right now.
Yeah.
With 8 rushes for 60 yards.
Exactly.
So we're going to utilize him the way he should be utilized.
As long as you can...
Not put him in harm's way.
Yeah. As long as you can correctly use him to his best abilities, like, you're going to be fine with him leading the way.
Yeah.
I think I do like Justin Fields, but you gotta have the right coaches and coaching staff around him because you gotta prepare the correct way with him or you're screwed. Like, and the big thing is protecting him because that's when he's getting hit constantly, even when he's trying to run.
He don't protect himself.
No.
Which you see a lot from young guys, especially the mobile guys.
And he'll probably figure it out. He's a guy I trust to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to be surprised if, like, 2 years down the road, we're talking about him putting up bigger numbers.
Right.
So they just got to go about it the right way with supporting him.
I agree. In this next game, a division game, we had Carolina at Atlanta. Hands down for me, the game of the day. What do we have, man? Carolina was 0-5 out of conference coming into the game. This one came down to a crucial 4th down pass in this game. There was a point where 10 possessions back and forth between the teams ended in a score, either field goal or touchdown. DJ Moore ended that streak on the 4th down when he dropped a pass from PJ Walker. The Falcons have a chance to run out the clock. They do not run out the clock. I think they did something similar to what the Vikings do, just run it 3 times, hope they get a first down. Ended up not getting the first down. Carolina, would you call it a Hail Mary or would you call it a fucking dime by PJ Walker? DJ Moore, 62 yards.
I think I read that they called it Hail Mary. I mean, I think that's what you call it in those type of situations. But it was a fucking dime. Like,
it was a dime.
Like,
tied the game at 34, but unfortunately,
shame on DJ.
Shame on DJ. He takes his helmet off in the field of play. 15-yard penalty on the field.
You gotta know better.
Knock it back to 40-something yard field goal or extra point, excuse me.
And they miss it.
They go to overtime. Atlanta gets the ball first. Mariota throws a pick. Carolina has a chance to win it. They return it down to the 21-yard line, I believe. Yeah. They miss a field goal, a gimme to the left.
Yeah, I know.
Mariota gets the ball back, goes down, scores, ultimately gets the dub for his 29th birthday, which this game wasn't the most surprising thing to me. That motherfucker's only 29.
Yeah, I know.
That was the most surprising thing to me. He's younger than me. And that was crazy, man, but Atlanta gets the win. They're number 1 in the NFC South, 37-34 overtime dub against a division opponent. Like I said, game of the week. What you think about this one?
That's funny because like sometimes like the games of the week end up being these like lowly teams that play each other, and it just ends up being high scoring back and forth. And it was an entertaining game, man.
This was a battle for first in the NFC South.
That's crazy to think about. Like, what? Oh my God. The end of that game though, yeah, I don't know, man. I just think you got to know better as a player, knowing the rules. Like, you let emotions get the best of you. Sometimes I get it, but man, when you cost your team the damn game like that.
See, I won't say he cost him the game because that kicker,
he should still make the kick
in overtime
and still make that extra point.
Extra point, yes. That's more understandable that you missed that one. You're not expecting to kick a 45-yard field goal or extra point. That field goal, though, like...
Yeah, I know.
If you're not out there
But see, and
Sunday,
that's the other thing I was going to say, too, about this.
Them.
Like, unless I have Justin Tucker or even maybe Daniel Carlson, I don't feel comfortable these days kicking. I just don't. Like, I'd rather go for two. I mean, we have a liability at kicker for the Vikings. Like, I never know if he's going to make it or miss it. He constantly misses at least one extra point, it seems, every game. That's unexcusable.
Yo, you missed the extra point against the Cardinals?
Yeah.
I was like, you guys are going to fuck around and lose. You're only up by
That's
8.
what I said at that point in the game. I was like, we're going to fucking lose. Because that's what ends up happening when we miss a kick or we miss extra point. It always happens, bro. It takes... I don't care what anyone says. Kickers who miss extra points or field goals, that does something to your team, and it's not a good thing.
Nah, that's a momentum killer for real.
Like, and you're paid to do one fucking thing. You practice how many kicks every practice?
You walk around with your sack of footballs, and that's all you do for 3 hours.
I don't get it. Like,
it's that pressure, man. That's why people.
There's gonna come a point where the NFL is changing up rules, and we're not gonna have kickers anymore, and we're just gonna be going for like 1 to 5 points, depending on where you want to put the ball.
I don't know. I recommended whatever.
Well, you recommended the kicking thing about 3 to 6 points or whatever, 3 to 5 points or something.
Yeah, anything 30 yards is 3 points, 40 yards, 4 points, 50 yards,
kind of like
5
the fantasy
points.
football structure of things.
Is that what that is? Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that. Fuck it. That's all people care about anyway is fantasy football.
At this point, you might as well. Maybe it gives kickers more motivation or incentive to like kick better. I don't know. But
yeah, if you can
it definitely would be interesting on how it would change the outcome of the games. Like, we're going for 5 points right here, 52-yard field goal.
That'd be crazy. Baltimore would lose 6 games like that. And I'd be so pissed. Like, I can already see it happening. My last thoughts on this game, though. So obviously, Baker out. Yep. You go from a first string to a third string quarterback, and I think on the surface of that, we look at it like this offense is really going to take a dip in production.
But it doesn't.
But when you really take a step back and look at it, and Baker was playing like a 30 to 32nd ranked quarterback in the league, all PJ Walker has to do is come into play a little bit below average to average. And with the defense and weapons that this team still possesses, you have a chance to be in a lot of these games.
Yeah, you do.
He's been playing average to above average or below average in these games. The defense is still right there.
Yep.
You told me earlier the Rams weren't going to get Ryan Burns for 2 first-round picks. Carolina was not going to let him go. J.C. Horn was a really good DB last year, and he's really good this year as well. The defense has a lot of talent, and if you keep DJ Moore, we see what he can do. If he keeps his helmet on, he's the hero of the week in the NFL.
Yep.
So, I mean, this team has a chance. Running backs are good. You're replacing that production with McCaffrey. So
yeah,
a team that we believed in coming into the season, we gave up on pretty early after that quarterback play was so putrid. But I think there's still hope for this team to not make a playoff run, but definitely have some optimism going into the offseason.
As there should be. I mean,
definitely is kicking my ass today.
Yeah. I think this team. Carolina, I like what PJ Walker is doing. I'm like you said before, he's kind of like that, got that Geno thing to him where he's coming in and he's playing well. And I don't know, man, like sometimes all a guy needs is that one chance and he does something with it.
Yeah.
And What I like about PJ Walker is the game doesn't look too big for him. Like
he makes some hard throws.
Yeah,
he fits it into some tight windows, puts air on it when he needs to. I like PJ right now,
and I think he ultimately is the best quarterback out of Darnold and Baker.
Yeah, so far.
You got to keep riding with him.
You have to. These next two games, I'm going to kind of clump together because I'm sorry, but I really just do not care about the AFC South. First game, we have Tennessee beating Houston 17-10. After starting 0-2, they have now won 5 in a row, and they are third in the AFC. Who would have thought, man? No A.J. Brown, really no Traylon Burks this year, no Tannehill this game. Malik Willis gets his first start, but that man is back. Derrick Henry went over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that was pretty much all you were watching this game for, probably.
Yeah. He's like that. He's like the new AP, really. Like, when you have him, anything's possible. Because if he's on and people aren't tackling him, it's a Derrick Henry show. And that man is capable of putting up all sorts of numbers rushing the ball. I don't think,
Who gets stronger as the game goes on?
I don't know. It's crazy.
It's ridiculous, dude.
It's like, it's crazy to watch. He's very fun to watch, but this division as a whole is so bad. It is just so, I don't want to watch any game involving them.
Yeah.
And
Jacksonville lost in London. Get these two teams out of the way. Washington was on the road at Indy. Got Indy out of the way. 17-16 win. Late drive by Heineke. Got him the dub when the coach really probably should have won this game, but bad teams are going to do bad teams things. Ellinger got the start.
Yeah.
No turnovers, no touchdowns, 201 yards, 17-23, which is okay. Didn't really use his legs like I thought he would. He was a decent runner back when he was at Texas. Haven't seen much of him in the league yet. But Colts, I mean, you really shit the bed and you're really shitting away your season right now. You're not supposed to lose to this team right here.
No, you're not. And I don't know what to say about the Colts. Like, I was one of the higher ones on them this offseason.
You talked me into it too. Oh yeah, Colts are good. Fuck the Tennessee. Yeah.
I did predict the Colts to win the division. Kind of regret that, but what can you do? I mean, sometimes your takes are wrong, and this team is just bad. Like, they're awful to watch. Nothing goes right, it seems. And I'm so sick of them having a different quarterback every year. But at the end of the day, like, I think he made the right move playing Ellinger over Matt Ryan for the rest of the season.
You think he's the answer going forward?
I can't say I believe that.
Got to see more from him?
But I got to see more.
Okay. Fair enough. Numbers are okay. I didn't see him play. I'm not going to say that.
I didn't really watch him, honestly. I watched bits and pieces of the game, but not enough to really get a grasp on how he was doing or whatever.
I think Malik Willis was, 6-10, 55 yards or something like that, so not
he had
very
some bad
impressive.
Throws.
That's what I was hearing, some pretty bad throws.
He had one brutal pick that was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you don't want to throw a pick in 4 incompletions. That's not very good. That's what Matt Stafford does. Next game, we have the Giants on the road at Seattle, losing 13-27. I think after a tough day from Lockett, dropped the pass. He had a fumble inside his own 5. He made up for it late, caught a big touchdown pass that put Seattle up a touchdown. Kenneth Walker put the nail in the coffin, as he's been doing for these past few weeks. Puts him up 2 touchdowns and really puts the game out of reach for the Giants late in the game.
Right.
I don't know. We kind of expected Daniel Jones to come back down to earth. He definitely did that this game. The running game wasn't really there for the Giants. The defense wasn't as effective as it has been. Seattle's offense seems to be defense-proof right now. Geno, Pete Carroll, Kenneth Walker. I mean, DK Metcalf came back after a patella injury. That guy looks like he's superhuman. He had a touchdown this game. Seattle leading the NFC West. Surprise of the year, maybe.
This is the thing. What I like about Seattle is no one knew what to expect with Geno Smith leading the way. We just looked at it and said, "Oh, Geno, like they're not gonna."
You have 5 good games,
but the way he's playing, like he's what's the word? Like he's making these playmakers play like the way they should be playing. Like we expected downgrades from DK and Tyler Lockett and you get Rashad Penny hurt, and then Kenneth Walker, we're not knowing what to expect really from him, but he's showing out. But when you can throw Geno in there and still get the same production from DK and Tyler Lockett that you always had with Russell, that's a good thing. And this team, like, there's no telling what they can accomplish because they're playing out of their minds right now. And they're fun to watch. And I think anything's possible for them. I'm not saying they're ready for the Super Bowl or anything, but they could sneak into the playoffs and steal a game maybe. And that'd be a terrific season for them. Especially after everyone's predicting them with terrible records. I had them at 5 wins.
I had them at less than that. They might finish with more than what we had combined for them.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're 5-3 right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
No. Maybe.
I think they're 5-3.
Or 4-4. Yeah. They're one of the two. Yeah.
So, like, that's pretty impressive at this point in the season right now.
Yeah, for sure. No question about it, man. I think, man. But after Patrick Mahomes, I think Geno has played the second best football at the quarterback position for me this year.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's a close third. He puts the ball in harm's way a little bit too much for my liking.
Yeah.
I don't really see Geno do that as often as we have in the past, so I'd probably put him 2 right now. Mahomes is still different. I mean, Rodgers still has the arm talent too, even though his receivers aren't there. But
right.
Yeah, man. This offense is really, really impressive. Like like we were mentioning though, Daniel Jones, 17 of 31, 176 yards, sacked 5 times. So they're putting the pressure on him. The Seattle defense has really stepped up as of late. They were pretty bad at the beginning of the season up there with Detroit.
Yeah.
Towards the bottom of the league, but really turned it around these past few weeks, getting after the quarterback, stopping the run, 20 rushes, 53 yards for Saquon. Right. So if you can do that, you're always going to have a chance against this Giants team.
And I think the Giants are just a team like, I mean, they got to be hitting on all cylinders to come out with a W. That's just how they're built. And it's not a knock on them because they've done good things this season so far. And they're still a quality team, but it's at the end of the day, how much do you trust Daniel Jones?
So that's my thing about damn, that's not plugged in. That's my thing about Dallas too. Because I feel like as soon as something goes wrong, Dak isn't very productive anymore. And that's why I think Philly's really going to run away with this division because they can do it a multitude of ways. They can run it. They can pass it to 3 different guys that can kill you. So they're a really complete team. Not to, get back on Philly, but.
No, but what's scary is that division has 3 teams with 3 of the best records in the league.
Right.
Which, that's it's not like the NFC North where we have a 3.5 game lead on the rest of them. When you have 3 teams in a division who are playing like that and that close together, damn, man, you better be all buttoned up tight and everything to make sure you get that division crown.
And that's why I think Philly has the potential to go 17-0 because these teams are right there, 6-2.
Right.
If you lose one game and then they get you later in the season, now you're not number 1 anymore. So.
And there's so much season left that could happen,
Yeah.
and that's.
Carolina almost
where the playoff standings are right now, it's not going to be that. So, we can't read into like, oh, if the playoffs started today, well, this is what it would be. That's not going to be like how it is right now. So, there's obviously, to me, the way the schedule is shaken out for Philly, it's hard to pick out, a loss for them. But at the same time, the way this season's been going, anything's possible. Like, anyone can go out and beat anyone at any given time.
Yeah, and I think the Giants really did have a chance to win this game as well. They lost by 2 scores, but they fumbled 2 punt returns. Richie James, who ironically is their leading receiver, who was their leading receiver coming into the game.
Right.
You could argue he was the one that lost in the game, giving up the football to Seattle twice. Moving on, though, a division game. We have San Francisco, who went on the road at Los Angeles. So far, so good for CMC.
Yeah, man.
Ran through. Caught a touchdown.
And he can pass.
Friday Night Lights for you guys out there. I don't know, man. If this team just has LA's number in the regular season, and right now, I know Kupp had an ankle injury, but he's gonna expected to play next week. This team just doesn't have the answers for anything right now. They can't stop anybody. Yeah, the Rams. Yeah. They can't stop anybody defensively. With all the guys you have over there, you would think that wouldn't be the case. Aaron Donald, Bobby Wagner, Ramsey. Offensively, And, we kind of thought this would be an issue, the Allen Robinson part. We didn't really consider the offensive line being so bad and the run game being non-existent. But, man, nothing looks good over there. Stafford, I don't know. We kind of speculated preseason, elbow, shoulder injury, whatever the case may be. He doesn't look that great. Nothing is going right now in L.A.
This is where what I'm going to say is the way the season's shaken out so far for them, what I see on a week-to-week basis on watching their games, it's got their season's already got that feel to it that it's just cooked. Like, there's no coming back from it. They just got too many things, whether it be inside the walls of that organization or whatever, going wrong for them. I mean, the whole Cam Akers situation, it's just not being able to trade for Brian Burns, not saying that would have done a whole lot for you.
Or McCaffrey.
Yeah, like
losing OBJ.
And you making these moves, trying to make these moves at least, is very telling about what you think of your team. Besides Cup, there's nothing.
Not a fucking thing. The cup is empty, man.
Like, and that's why I'm fully off of the
Me too.
LA
And
Rams.
I'm so mad I picked these fucking bums to go to the Super Bowl again.
Like, I'm off of the Rams, bro.
I had the Eagles at 2, and I was like, I don't believe in Jalen Hurts quite yet. I should have just... Hurts is my second favorite quarterback to watch.
He's very fun to watch. I mean, he's putting it together this year, bro.
Geno's creeping up, though. Jimmy, 21-25 this game. 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. McCaffrey, 158 total yards. Did everything like we mentioned. Debo didn't play. Was no problem, though. But once he gets back, I'd like to see how these guys really intertwine with each other.
Boy, it's going to be scary. I'm telling you, like, let's be real here, bro. Like, I don't like to talk about injuries like they're good things, but I think it was almost like I've said it before. It was like a blessing in disguise for Trey Lance to go down and Jimmy to get his job back. Like, this is the team that I've come to fear, especially during end of season playoff time. Like, right. They're just that team where they just nip at you and won't go away. And those teams are so annoying to deal with. And now that you got Christian McCaffrey, who clearly showed on Sunday that is like the perfect back for this system, and he can do everything he's at. I mean, you put Debo in there with him, bro, and man, I'm not crowning them or anything, but I'm just saying, like, they're a scary team to watch out for.
They revamped that defense. The defensive secondary is pretty good. They obviously have Fred Warner and Bosa still, so front seven's definitely in good hands. Shanahan's a great mastermind. I think this is really a battle of talent, but also a battle of coaching. Yeah, I think Sean McVay is a little underrated. I think if you are offensive mastermind, your offense has to be more than giving 15 attempts.
You said McVay's underrated or overrated?
Overrated.
Okay.
I think your offense can't consist of throwing the ball to Cooper Kupp 15 times every single week.
I'm not trying to get into the whole. I think Kevin O'Connell's the next big thing or anything like that. He's still got to prove it, but he clearly had a lot to do with that offense last year. That's all I'm saying on that. Like, he clearly had his say about how that offense went last year.
You could say that. In preseason, you were mentioning to me, they want to establish a run out there, but they didn't have a running back. And then coming over here, Dalvin's way better than anybody they've had since Todd Gurley. So if you can establish a run, which I think they've been doing, you guys did run the ball very well against Arizona and the season so far. That opens up a lot in the pass game. And then when you have more options at the receiver spot, you can put up 34 points, and you probably should have had more than that against Arizona.
I agree.
Your offense can look amazing.
So I don't know what it is. It seems like every next great coach comes from the McVay tree, but McVay is just.
And then they just keep taking powers from him.
Yeah, I agree though. I don't know. They need to do more out in LA and let's not forget, like, that was a Rams home game, and that whole stadium was red.
It was red from top to bottom. That was crazy. Sunday night. Your boys on the road at Buffalo, taking the L, 17-27. We kind of talked about this one beforehand, but I don't think that the score indicated how much of a blowout this game really was.
Yeah.
But even though I'm saying that, I think the Packers did some good things this game. Coming into the game, they had the first-ranked pass defense against the first-ranked pass offense. So only 25 attempts for Josh Allen. They held him to 13 completions, so around 50%. But he did have quite a bit of yards, which is a little concerning. But on the offensive side of things, you ran the ball the same amount of times as you passed the ball, which is something I think you needed to get back to. You had 30 attempts for around 200 yards. And that's definitely a formula you can use going forward, especially if you have a good defense like you do. Aaron Rodgers, I know we talked about him earlier as he doesn't have the arm he used to. I really think that he does. I don't think that he's lost too much as far as the arm talent goes. He put some dimes on some of those receivers last night. These guys just have to step up and make some plays.
There's no question. I still think he's got the arm for sure. It's the fact that he's just got no one to throw to.
Maybe the attitude and the demeanor and the amount he's
I don't think he's got the greatest leadership qualities.
No, not at all.
And that brings the team down too. When you got your quarterback acting the way he does, like out there, like making faces and rolling his eyes, and like you're bound to have a fucked up team.
You are. I mean, especially when you're doing that to the guys on national TV.
And they can't get their confidence up when you're doing that.
You're doing it in the huddle or right after we get a penalty or have to burn a timeout that we didn't want to use.
Yeah.
We can hear that picked up on the mics. And, I mean, those guys are going home and they're not feeling too good about that. They're not feeling too good about it in the moment. That's definitely not something you want to do is show up your guys, especially when they're protecting
and then when you got, especially when it comes to like rookie receivers or whatever, and, they're excited because they get to play with Aaron Rodgers. But God damn it, if Aaron Rodgers don't like you, like
you're at the first week of camp texting your brother like, this is not what I thought it was, bro.
Like
I don't think I'm cut out for this.
You're expecting to learn from Aaron Rodgers and everything and the ins and outs, the nuances, and he just hates your guts and doesn't throw to you like
because it's like, listen here, you little fucker. You're either gonna get it right with me or you're playing with that bum Jordan Love over there.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like they just got a lot of issues going on over there, and yeah, like you said, like this game was more of a blowout than a 10-point game.
Yeah.
It especially felt that way. But yeah, I think, Packers, I don't know if there's any saving their season.
No, their season's over with. It's similar to the Rams for me. Only reason I don't put the Buccaneers in that category is because they got Tom.
And that's fair enough. And like we said earlier, I trust that roster still a lot more than I do the Packers.
As long as they can get back healthy, they still have one of the most talented rosters.
That's going to be an interesting game when the Packers go down to Tampa and play them. That'll be an interesting game.
It's going to be interesting when you have to play Tampa in the first round of the playoffs when they're very healthy. That's going to be interesting too. We'll see though. Our Week 8 recap will be complete after we talk about this game. Cincinnati went on the road last night, faced Cleveland Browns. Really ugly game early. Was 0-0 for a lot of the time. Turnovers on both sides. Yep. Fumbles on both sides. Interceptions as well. Ultimately, Cleveland came away with a big win last night. I think they went up 18-0 at the half, I want to say. Very weird score, but really didn't relinquish any of that lead in the second half. Right. Came out, played very well. Did what they wanted to do, get the lead, and then give the ball to Chubb and Hunt. Let those guys run the clock out. Play good defense. Get a hard-fought dub that you needed to stay alive in the AFC.
Yeah, they needed that one for sure.
Big time.
And I know I picked Cincinnati, but that was a good win for Cleveland. They needed that, especially if you want to still be in it by the time Deshaun gets back. I mean, Cleveland's a team that I never know what to expect from week in and week out because it's like so up and down. But if Jacoby's on point, not making mistakes, and the run game is going, man, they can compete with many teams.
For sure. They've been in a lot of these games. They've been shooting themselves in the foot, and that's really why the record is what it is. But they could easily be flipped around at 5-3. They could be right at the top of this division, and we'd be really talking about this team differently because Deshaun will be coming back in a couple weeks. 3 weeks now, actually.
Yep.
I mean, this time is flying by. So before the third month of the season's over, he'll be back in the lineup.
Yeah.
I know. We'll get him soon after that, too.
The season's going fast, bro.
Yeah, it is, bro. We're almost halfway through. Anything on the Bengals before we get to our Week 9 picks?
No, man. I still believe in the Bengals, but I don't see them going back to the Super Bowl this year.
I would like to see them use Mixon a lot more in the run game.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. but
no Chase too.
It just seems
shaky.
That they're kind of like the Browns almost. They got the up and down season going on. Like they look great one week, then they're like, what the hell the next?
Yeah.
No, it's just that's they got a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball in Cincinnati, but they don't have that cohesiveness, it seems like, over there. So I don't know. I don't have them as a Super Bowl pick right now, and I don't think they will get to the Super Bowl, especially with the Bills and Chiefs in their way.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still capable of making the playoffs and getting 1 or 2 games.
I just really think that Jamar Chase injury was huge. I think before that, they were probably the clear-cut 3rd seed. You could say top 4 for sure if you want to put Baltimore or Tennessee in there, whoever you want to argue.
And how long did they say Chase was out for?
4 to 6.
Yeah, that's a huge chunk of season.
That comes at a tough part in your schedule too. So definitely something they're going to have to make some adjustments for. I'd like to see Mixon get the ball more. They do have good weapons on the outside still. Right. So definitely something I think they can figure out, especially with the quarterback like Joe Burrow. So yeah. I wouldn't be too worried about Cincinnati, although that was a terrible performance to put out there on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, not what you expect from them.
No. Anything else before we get to these picks?
No, man. That's about it for me.
All right. Next up, Week 9 picks. So Week 9, we have 6 teams on the bye. Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, New York Giants, Pittsburgh, and San Fran. Thursday Night Football, we have Philadelphia at 7-0 on the road at Houston, 1-5-1. There's not a lot we need to say about this one. This is the best record in the league against arguably the worst team in the league.
Yeah. I got Philly.
Whatever the spread is, I got Philly covering. Although Houston's been competitive in a lot of these games, I don't think this is going to be one of those games. Philly's good in all facets of the game. It's going to be really tough to stay close in this one.
Yep.
No London games, so we'll go to the noon games. We have the Chargers on the road at the Falcons, which I think will be one of the better games of this weekend. Yeah. For me, I'm going to have to go with the Falcons in this one. Stay on top of the NFC South. I think Chargers have a lot of injuries they're dealing with and a lot of internal problems that they're dealing with. And I think the Falcons they have a better mojo around them, a better feel around their team. Big win against Carolina. I think they're going to build off that momentum this week.
Yeah, I mean, I like that take. Chargers got me all.
I know.
They got me picking them, even though I don't feel comfortable doing it. But they still got that roster over there. I know they got injuries and they got just the buffoonery at head coach. I just like Herbert more than I do Mariota. And so I got to go with Herbert.
A battle of some Oregon guys.
Yeah.
We're going to see who comes out quacking. Dolphins on the road at the Bears. I did like the Bears' orange uniforms. That's about all I liked from this team against the Cowboys the other day, outside of the run game. I'm going to have to go with Dolphins, even though I don't feel confident in this one at all.
This could be a sneaky game where the Bears get a W.
I'm thinking so, too.
For some reason. And it's in Chicago. Yeah, I got the Dolphins.
I think I'm actually going to go with the Bears.
All right, make your pick, bro.
I got Chicago.
I think Dolphins are the better team all around. So, I mean... But this has that making of like this is going to be a close game type thing.
I feel like Dolphins are a little too euphoric right now. Oh, we just got Bradley Chubb. We're going to be front runners in the AFC right behind the Bills. Bears are still fighting for their playoff lives. We might think that they're out of there, but they're only, I don't know, a couple games out of contention
Same
right
record
now.
as the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, they're not far behind, so they still have a chance for sure. They have some solid pieces that can keep them in this game. If Justin Fields can end up doing some things, they got a chance. I'm going to go Bears. Panthers on the road at Cincinnati. I think this will also be a good game. Cincinnati's going to have to bounce back. Panthers also looking to stay competitive in the NFC South, a division they have a chance to win.
Yep.
I want to go Cincinnati with that bounce back, though.
Yeah, I got Cincinnati in this one, too. I just think, even with Chase out, they're still the better team. And this should be a game that you do win. And not saying it's a blowout or anything, but it should be a comfortable win. Like, you shouldn't lose to this team.
This one, I really have no idea. Las Vegas on the road at Jacksonville.
It's a tough one, bro.
That one's real tough, man.
But I'm going to roll with Jacksonville based on how Las Vegas has been playing.
If you score 0 points, I can't bet on you the next week. I'm going to have to go Jacksonville as well. Really, Man, there's just no confidence I have in Vegas anymore after that.
No.
Renfro or Adams can't get going. It's
Nope.
just, you would think one of them will be able to do something out there. Indianapolis on the road at New England. Indy looking to bounce back after they gave away that game against Washington. New England almost gave the game away against the Jets, but they ended up taking the victory on the road. I'm going to have to go with the Patriots in this one.
I got the Patriots too. I just don't feel comfortable with Indianapolis in any way possible.
Nah, they're in that Denver category for me right now. The Vikes on the road at the Commanders. Going to be interesting. Kirk's return to Washington, you said. Washington's been playing well with Heineke at the quarterback instead of Carson Wentz. The team really seems to believe in him. He seems to believe in himself.
It'll be a tough, interesting game.
I think it will be for the first half. Second half, I got you guys pulling away. Vikings easy in this one.
I got the Vikings in this one. I think and I hope that Kirk goes out and balls against his former team. That's what we need.
Kirk needs to wear a shirt under his jersey that says Kirk Cousins. And just once he throws for 5 touchdown passes, just lift it up, let him know. We have some division games at noon. Green Bay on the road at Detroit. This has to be it, man. Your last stand.
This will be, if they lose, this will be the last time I'm picking the Packers.
Yep, I agree. So you got our answer. Packers on that one, clean sweep. Next game, Buffalo on the road at New York. I think this would have been a great game with Breece Hall. Great game with Vera Tucker. Great game with Becton. Without those guys, it's going to be real tough for this team to produce anything. Zach Wilson's going to look ugly. Buffalo easy with this one.
Easy. Buffalo all the way.
Afternoon games. Preseason, this would have been the game of the week. Rams on the road at Tampa Bay. Right now, I don't even know if I want to watch this nonsense.
I don't even know who to pick in this one.
I'm going Tampa Bay easily. The Rams suck.
Yeah. I'd agree. I'm going Tampa Bay. But like I said, though, this game, it would not surprise me if, since I picked Tampa Bay, that the Rams win. But I don't think that'll happen. I just think Tom's got to be sick and tired.
What's his skid right now? 3 in a row? That can't go to 4.
Yeah, it's 3 in a row. And Bucks are favored only by 2.5.
Which means the Rams are favored since Bucks are at home, or they think the Rams are better, I should say, not favored.
So,
which I don't agree with.
I got the Bucks though. Tom Brady's got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
My boys, Seattle on the road at Arizona. Who you got? I have nothing to say. The people know me.
Yeah, give me Seattle, bro.
Yeah, come to the dark side. No pun intended. Sunday night, Tennessee at Kansas City. I think this has a chance to be a very sneaky game for Tennessee. They play a style of football that can keep Patrick Mahomes off the field.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was gonna say is like if you can keep him off the field, you got a fighting chance.
Yeah, and then you have Simmons up the middle who can definitely cause some problems for the Chiefs O-line, but ultimately, Chiefs are just too good. I don't think Tennessee's really that good at all, and they'll find their first loss after 5 wins in a row.
Yep, Chiefs with this one.
Monday Night Football. Baltimore on the road at New Orleans. Gonna be a tough game. I big up this New Orleans teams earlier. I did in the preseason, and I feel like I do every week. I really do like this team a lot. I don't know if Jameis is back. Even if he was, I think they would still go forward with Andy Dalton. Man, we're dealing with a lot of injuries right now. I think the extra day will help a little bit. And I think it'll help just enough that we squeak this one out on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to say a big game from your new guy in Roquan Smith.
I would love to see that, man.
The league leading tackler, he's going to step right in and fit perfectly in that defense. So give me the Ravens in this one.
I'd love to see him in there slowing down Kamara a little bit. Patrick Queen has been playing a lot better as of late, and he's really starting to earn my trust. And to pair him with Roquan, that's going to be really nice for us. Those are our picks. Week 9 in the books.
Yep.
Now, you know what it is. One of our last 2 weeks, if my math is correct, where we have to eliminate 2 teams instead of 1.
And rattle off the teams we got gone out of here so far.
As of now, we have eliminated 6 teams from playoff contention. Houston, Jacksonville, Carolina, Washington, Chicago, and
Detroit.
Who you adding to the list?
Oh, for me,
I know it's kind of tough. I'm gonna have to pull out these teams.
I'm rolling with Denver.
Denver, even after a dub?
Yeah.
A surprising decision from you again.
They just can't make the playoffs, bro. If they do, then kudos to them. But
there's worse teams in the AFC though.
I'm going with Denver. They're cooked.
No, I agree they are cooked. I'll just go with Vegas then. I think Vegas is also cooked. So two teams out the AFC West. Might as well do it on the same week. High expectations. Now you have the lowest of lows.
Yep. They are very underwhelming. They would not hold up in a playoff game in any shape or form. I don't think. Like they don't have it this year. And from what Hackett, he's not capable of leading a team to the playoffs.
No, I don't think he is. He hasn't shown us that he is. And the only reason I didn't pick Pittsburgh is because Tomlin is the opposite of Hackett, and he's shown that he can turn some shit around.
And I feel like Tomlin deserves our respect more than Hackett does.
Yeah. Vegas obviously is more talented in the offensive league. They're the more sexy pick to, keep in contention.
Yeah.
But 0 points, just get out of my face with that. That's nonsense.
Yeah.
You don't deserve a second chance after that. So, Vegas and Denver, you're out of here. Let's ride. Anything else before we get out of here?
Nah.
2-hour pod. I'm tired of shit.
Nah, man. It's been a long one, but we did it. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And we'll be back with another one on our regular schedule next week. Thank God.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, we'll have 2 out next week for y'all. So tune in.
Until next time.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all.